On October 30, 1938, the Mercury Theater broadcast a radio performance about a Martian invasion called War of the Worlds. The fictional drama, directed and narrated by Orson Welles, was presented as news bulletins.
We interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News.
The announcer did provide occasional disclaimers, informing the audience that it was a dramatic performance. And the story itself was far-fetched.
The eyes, it might be a face, might be almost... Good heavens, something wriggling out of the shadow like a gray snake. Now it's another one, and another one, and another one. They look like tentacles to me.
Nevertheless, because it was packaged as news, many people tuning in believed it.
The flame springing from the mirror and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Lord, they're turning into flames. Now the whole field's caught by the woods of fire.
There was panic. Interestingly, many people formed false memories. Some claimed to have seen things, felt things, or smelled things that weren't really there at all. A very important lesson was learned that day back in 1938. Mass media wield the power of mind control. When sufficiently traumatized, masses of people will believe the impossible. Human emotional hot buttons are well known to all story writers. To accomplish genuine mind control, what remains is to take a fantastic fictional story and present it as present tense fact. That is, news. And while the mind control powers of radio news are strong, television news is awesome. The writers of 9/11 borrowed heavily from the War of the Worlds script and threw in a few new surprises.
At 8:50 p.m., a huge flaming object,
sparks and fire.
Lord, they're turning into flames.
It's almost like a mushroom cloud explosion. This huge.
reports observing a total of 3 explosions on the planet
And
Mars.
it's just a huge explosion. We
Now
can.
the smoke's spreading faster. It leaves Times Square. People are trying to run away from it, but it's no use.
And we set up headquarters at 75 Barclay Street.
Where he has established an emergency observation post.
And we were operating out of there when we were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse.
Everything wiped out.
Absolute disintegration of one of those twin trade center towers. Do you believe it's hundreds or thousands?
At least 40 people, including 6 state troopers, lie dead.
The plane is 50 miles out.
800 yards.
The plane is 30 miles out.
600.
The plane is 10 miles out.
400.
Do the orders still stand?
Only one thing left, stop on the plane alone. Smoke comes out, black smoke drifting over the city.
Looks almost like a real war.
This is an act of war.
They were acts of war.
Then what?
I turned my head out the window and would have sworn I was asleep and dreaming.
It seemed like it wasn't even real.
It's my guess that in some way they are able to generate an intense heat in a chamber of practically absolute non-conductivity.
It was the heat that began to melt the steel.
Citizens of the nation, I shall not try to conceal the gravity of the situation that confronts the country.
The American people need to know we're facing a different enemy than we have ever faced.
And we may place our fate in the military forces.
The United States of America will use all our resources to conquer this enemy.
That we may confront this destructive adversary with a nation united.
America's united.
Courageous and consecrated to the preservation of
our way of life. This will be a monumental struggle of good versus evil. But good will prevail.
I thank you.
The 9/11 news reporters certainly seemed to be reading from a script. No sooner did we see a plane go into a tower than Fox 5 anchor Jim Ryan told us it was obviously suicidal hijackers.
Obviously, suicide, terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. What we have been fearing.
Chopper 5, anybody on?
23 minutes later, they had already solved the case.
All the concerns about terrorism, of course, the name Osama bin Laden was greatly mentioned.
Listen as the male anchor from Fox 5 Washington struggles to find the words to describe what he sees, while the female anchor fears he might have missed the talking point.
The tower's collapsed.
Yeah.
The tower collapsed.
And it looks like we're seeing...
the tower collapsed.
Yeah.
They could not risk allowing the people to form their own opinions about what they were seeing. It was imperative to immediately implant the word collapse into your mind.
One of those towers, 110 stories, has apparently collapsed.
The towers collapsed within minutes of one another.
The second tower just collapsing into a pile of rubble.
They were so eager to propagate the collapse meme, they jumped the gun in the case of Building 7, also known as the Salomon Brothers Building, and accidentally read the script 20 minutes before it actually happened.
On the latest building collapse in New York, you might have heard a few moments ago, was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks.
They already told you it collapsed and gave you the official reason why it collapsed.
As you can see behind me,
we can see behind Jane, and we see that Building 7 is still standing. Of course, Building 7 does drop straight down into its own footprint in free-fall time, just like a standard controlled demolition. But this happens 20 minutes later.